And cars now, whichever get up. Light up my card with a sweet one bliss. Someone flips me a bag it up. Say, oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah. It's a full strand, yeah. Oh, it's another one. It's another one, yeah.
Hello and welcome to Green Diamond Boxing, powered by iBoxingHub. My name's Aiysha, and as always, before we get started, a quick shout out to our sponsors, D-Rock. Please check out the clothes on their website, add promo code iBoxingHub24 for 40% discount on all their clothing. So today I'm having a bit of a break from the Getting to Know series to interview soon-to-be professional boxer, Lucas Roehrig. How are you today, Lucas?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
No, thank you for your time. I know you're busy. You've got loads of people asking for your time for interviews as well. So yeah, I really appreciate you coming on. I just want to get started right from the beginning. So I understand, were you born and brought up in Harrow? Is that right?
Yeah, Harrow Road, so around the Notting Hill area.
Oh, okay,
So
right.
I knew where Carnival is each year, so that's
Nice.
where I was born and raised.
Yeah. And you started boxing around 12, I think, at the beginning, and then you like left it for a bit, but then really committed to it like when you turned 16. Does anybody else in your family box, or is it just yourself?
Just myself. On my father's side, though, it was quite a sporty family because my granddad, Masood Honifa, ran like a wrestling club. I never myself was able to get involved because I lived in a different area. But I think they were quite sporty. But in terms of boxing, I'm the first in the family to dip my feet in the waters.
And who introduced you to the boxing gym then? Who took you there first?
I think it was just through friends, to be honest with you, because I live about 5 minutes away from All Stars Boxing Gym,
Mhm.
which was a very renowned, famous amateur boxing gym. So it was just through where I lived, through the area, and when you see your friends, trying something out, you want to go follow. And I was always very sporty, playing a multitude of sports. But I would say boxing is very addictive when you get a taste, of the admiration you get after like your first amateur win or the pat on the backs. Then it locks you in, and that's what happened to me. And I think that's why I found out. I lost a couple of years where I was playing other sports like basketball and stuff like that. But it dragged me back in, and you just miss that feeling. You miss the adrenaline you get from fighting. There's no other feeling like it.
Wow. And you've done quite a few interviews now. Like I've seen you on Sky Sports, Talk Sport. You've done a few different ones. And you've mentioned that, just like about 1.5 years ago, you were living in hostels and that you didn't really imagine that you'd be where you are today. Just take me back a bit about, your life growing up and how you've got to this point today.
Yeah, I would say just a lot of dedication and remaining on the right path. There's a lot of distractions, especially in certain estates. There's a lot of different pulls towards, negative influences. And I would say sport was kind of my savior in that sense, where even like at 17, due to like family situations, I was, living in hostels and not able to live in a secure family environment where at that age you're quite vulnerable to outsiders that maybe don't have the best interest for you and would try to drag you into negative situations. But I would say boxing was my savior, where even though I wasn't in a very healthy environment in terms of where I was living, live like moving about from East London, South London, different like YMCAs and all of this, I would say through boxing, it gave me, to distract my mind from where I was, being able to train twice a day and still having that community where which a lot of young people in that situation miss. Where when I used to go to the boxing gym, it would help me forget about my problems,
Mm.
and I would just feel like normal, like everyone else, have that community, and see every Sunday, see a world champion who came from, under like the same area, not the same area, but a familiar area, and was able to completely change his life. So that just motivated me and kept me on the right path, to be honest with you.
Wow. So you've basically used boxing as kind of like a getaway, do you think? Like an escape from other things happening in your life, would you say?
Yeah, just a positive, because I think a lot of it is energy. So
Mm.
in terms of, when I go to the boxing gym, if I had any anger or had any pent up, negative thoughts, I could release that energy through sport, through something positive, and I would still get love. Like when I would go to a national tournament or have a bout, and I would win, then you get that love from the coaches, you get that admiration, and it was a good feeling. That's what really kept my mind right and focused. And you see it, boxing is a sport where you see a lot of stories where people come from maybe not the best backgrounds, but are still able to make something of
Mm.
themselves just from keeping on the right path and staying dedicated. So yeah, that's what
Yeah,
motivates
absolutely.
me.
And you did really well as well. Like obviously you were in the England team, Team GB. How was your amateur career for you then? How was that experience?
Yeah, it was well. Looking back now, it makes me realize that I did have a lot of talent in terms of where maybe I didn't have the same setup as other certain amateur fighters, but I still managed to get on England team, you know, GB team, where I was still in those situations where I was living in hostels and all that. But it made me realize that I do have ability, I do have talent, and if I'm able to find the right mentor, the right coach that can refine me, as I do now with George Groves,
Mm.
I can really. Sorry about that. That was got a
Right?
call, but yeah, I can really progress all the way. So yeah, it gives me a lot of confidence now that I look back that I was still able to make it on the England team, represent them in international tournaments,
Mm.
and get gain some great experience as a senior amateur boxer, which is what you need to progress onto the other side of the sports, which is pro boxing, which I'm going to be making my debut December 14th. So very
Yeah,
excited.
absolutely. It's really exciting. How has the transition been for you then in terms of training for an amateur fight versus training for a professional fight? Obviously, I'm presuming that that's quite different in how you
Hmm.
train. What's the transition been like for you?
Yeah, it's totally different in terms of now 24 hours of the day, live, breathe, sleep boxing.
Hmm.
My whole job predominantly is to look after my body, make
Yeah.
sure my mind's right, listen to any instructions given to me by my coach, make sure I'm fit, healthy, eating right, building my muscle. So but for me, it's been extremely enjoyable because, I love to be in the gym. I love, never miss a session, and it's my passion. So for me, training 2, 3 times a day, um, it's what I want to do as a young man. It's what I love to do, and I just want to get better. So I would say the hardest transition is probably just finding my pro style in terms of the pace slows down a bit. Where now
Mhm.
I'm doing, like, I'm sparring these very experienced pros where you're doing 6 to 8 rounds, you kind of need to pace yourself a bit more. You need to
Hmm.
pick your shots, be more, not as wasteful with shots. And it's not about just, you've got to really gain other fighters' respect, with your power, and with your explosiveness and skills. So I would say that's the main difference. Where now it's more about thinking. It's not free freeze where it's very quick. It's before you know it's over. It's a lot longer rounds where you can think more. You can pick your punches and you can set things up.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about training and getting yourself ready, obviously you said you're training your physical self, but also your mental self. What are you doing to get mentally in the right space for a professional fight?
Well, I would say just have the right people around you. So have, good friends, good family members. And I would say just me being in the gym, having, you know, good people around me, such as my assistant trainer, Danny Rowe, Luke Ramos, and of course, George, who
Hmm.
has a vast amount of knowledge about
Hmm.
everything that goes with boxing in terms of camps, the highest highs of the sports, the lowest lows. So if I ever have any questions, any doubts, if I'm doing this right or this wrong, then I've got that my right hand man next to me that I can always go to ask, and with his knowledge and experience, he always able to say the right things to me, and that just gives me the confidence that I'm doing the right things. So
Yeah,
mentally,
absolutely.
yeah, just not being distracted, fully tunnel vision on the
Mm.
task ahead.
Wow. So yeah, as you've mentioned, you're being trained by former world champion George Groves. Did you have several people come to you to offer to train you, or was he like the first person that came to you and you were like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go with him, or did you have like loads of options?
Well, in terms of manager, there was a couple options, because when we first had discussion, it was about who was going to manage me.
Hmm.
So, and then that led to, the option called who's going to train me. And
Right.
we came to the decision that he's going to be my manager and trainer, which
Wow.
was, for me, was fantastic.
Mhm.
That's exactly what I would have wanted. And yeah, I mean, I think when we first linked up, we were going down to Shane McGuigan's a lot, who's exceptional trainer,
Yeah.
for sparring. But for me, it was always, uh, my first choice was always been George, and I'm happy that we come to the decision, and that he's going to manage and train me.
Yeah.
And he gives up every morning, Monday to Friday. He gives up his time, even though he's extremely busy man in terms of media and everything. And he gives me 2 3 hours of his day to refine my skills, and it's amazing.
That's really good. And obviously, eyes are going to be on you for your pro debut, as you said, on the 14th of December. But there's also going to be eyes on George, because I think you're his first pro boxer that he's training. Is that right?
Yeah, it's first.
Yeah. So I guess people are
First,
going
yeah.
to be watching him to see like what his coaching style is like, and things as well. What do you look for in a coach in terms of trying to pick the right coach for you as a professional?
I would say someone with experience, a former fighter himself, and Georgie's a former world champion, so was an
Mhm.
exceptional fighter. Um, Someone who has confidence in what he's telling you. So when he explains something to me, he always, with confidence and through his experience himself. And yes, he's a great pad man as well, so that's a bonus.
Yeah.
Of course, pad man, and also just the connections he has through boxing has
Mm.
already been able to get me rounds with various world champions, with going to Don Charles sparring cruiserweights there, Shane McGuick, so it just opens up a whole lot of doors. And yeah, I think his coaching would definitely reflect in my performances.
Mhm.
because how he's building me from the ground up, building those foundations, and through my performances in my pro fights, the coaching that he's been giving me will definitely reflect.
Wow. So you've got your coach, you've got your manager and your coach as well. I know you've had loads of offers in terms of promoters. Any more updates that you can give us on who you might be going with in terms of a promoter?
Well, I'm gonna leave that to George, but at the moment we're not committing to no one, so we're
Okay.
remaining a free agent. Uh, so we have a, very credible opponent for our first fight, December 14th. We're fighting Joe McIntyre. So for my English champion, um, I think he's got a really good record, 21 wins, 9 losses. So for my debut, it's a perfect opponent to, showcase my skills and showcase what I'm about. But in
Yeah.
terms of promote at the we're kind of just, I think George wants to guide me in the way that he would like to. So that's remaining free agent, being
Mhm.
active, which is the most important. So hopefully back out in January after my debut in December, and
Oh,
then
okay.
every
That's
2 months. Yeah, yeah. So next year we're hoping for at least 6 fights in the
wow.
year, and then
Okay.
yeah, finish off the year by the time I'm 22 as a 7-0 established pro.
Wow.
So that will
That's
be
an
the goal.
amazing plan.
Yeah, that's the
Obviously the
plan.
first
Hopefully.
Yeah, the first time I met you was at Churchill's boxing gym when you were sparring Jai Opeteia. How amazing is that? Obviously, arguably probably one of the top cruiserweights in the world. And he had such positive things to say about you when I was interviewing him after you guys sparred. He was like, "Who is that kid?" He came out firing,
Mm.
and I don't think he was expecting you to be as good as you actually was. What did he say to you after you guys finished sparring?
They pretty much said across the same lines that you were just saying. He said, "You're very talented. Just keep going. Remain focused."
Mhm.
He said, "Yeah, just remain focused and keep training hard." So, what I would just great advice coming from him that gave me great confidence. That and that I'm doing things right. I just need to keep doing what I'm doing, listening to George, and training hard, remain dedicated, and no distractions. And hopefully, I can be where Jai Pattaya is a couple of years down the line.
Yeah,
That's someone I
absolutely.
look up to. So,
I mean,
yeah,
not
great
many
champion.
fighters can say that they've sparred someone at Jai's level before they've even done their pro debut. So, like, you're probably in, a very small group of people who have had the privilege to fight someone at such a high level. How does that feel for you, having sparred with someone, but not just sparred them, but actually held your own in that sparring session as well?
Yeah, yeah, it's amazing because you're used to watching these guys on TV. You look up to them as superstars, but
Mm,
I would say just sharing the ring and being able to train with him makes you realize that it is possible.
mm,
Just like he said, you just need to respect boxing. Boxing will respect you. Remain dedicated, and anything's possible. So even like you said before my debut, I've already been able to get working with tremendous champions such as Chris Billam Smith and
mm.
Jai Pattaya, and that's knowledge which is priceless, and yeah, it gives me full confidence that if I keep doing what I'm doing, I can be a world champion amongst those great names as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about Chris Smith, what did you think about his last fight then with Ramirez? Obviously, he did unfortunately lose that, but what did you think about the fight?
Yeah, I thought it was a great fight. Showed tremendous heart, toughness, and yeah, it was back and forth. But I think Ramirez with his work rate and kind of pulled away with it. He has a great combination punching as well
Mhm.
for cruiserweight. Very high work rate and puts his punches together very well. Yeah, in terms of Chris Billam, you know, he's someone that I've always looked up to. Always gave me great advice, and I know he'll be back. Uh, he'll be back, and you know, in big fights. And yeah, he's a true champion.
Absolutely. So having sparred with Chris Billam Smith and having sparred with Jai Opeteia, if those two were to meet in the ring at some point down the line, who would you have winning that then?
uh, I mean, it's you know, I mean, Chris Billam is my close friend, and obviously Joe Opeteia. I have a lot of love for him as well. I'd have to sit on the fence with that one, to be honest with you. I mean, it's a fight I would love to see. I
Mm,
think, but at the at that division, in the cruiserweight division, I think anything's possible. They both hit extremely hard, and I think it's whoever is able to get their game plan off and you know, land that big shot first.
yeah, absolutely. So as we said, you've got your pro debut on the 14th of December in Harrow, is that right? Or Harrow Lane or
That's it. Yeah, yeah. How Leisure Centre,
Harrow Leisure
December
Centre?
14th.
You're going to be there as a cruiserweight. You've got more tickets. How do people get tickets if they want to come to your fight?
So just DM me on Lucas Roehrig 1, which is my Instagram, and I've been posting. I've been dropping off tickets to anyone who lives in the London area, and anyone further away. I just post them, and yeah, just trying to get as much support and as much eyes on me for the debut,
Yeah.
and you know, to really showcase my abilities and showcase what I've been working on in the gym. And I'm just super excited and appreciate everyone who's already got tickets and who's going to come and show support.
You feeling any nervousness as well, or just a load of excitement? How are you thinking?
For me, it's just
Yeah.
excitement, to be honest with you, because
Okay.
for the last couple of years, this is what I've dreamed about. This
Hmm.
is what I've replayed over my head, and I've always been like a very big fan of pro boxing. If I was ever to watch boxing, it's always be professional with the 10-ounce gloves, you know, the hurt business. So it's something I'm just soaking up everything. And there's no pressure. Like I always say, no pressure, just privilege. And yeah, just super excited, to be honest with you.
So do you have like all your robe ready, your clothes ready, your boots, you know, what outfit
Yeah,
you're going
yeah,
out with? Yeah.
yeah. I got my boots. I got
Nice.
my boxing shorts, my everything's ready. And yeah, I'll be looking fresh. We'll make sure I'll get a haircut a couple of days before the fight, and yeah, just look good, feel good, and yeah, just super excited. And
And
to
what's
put
your
those
music
10
going to be
10
for your
ounce
ring walk?
gloves.
If you don't mind telling us, or if you want to keep it a secret, I don't know, your music for your ring walk.
Uh, we haven't come to a conclusion yet, so we're not
Oh,
100%
okay.
sure. So it
Oh,
might be a bit last minute. There's like a couple
all right.
songs.
Fine.
Yeah,
So when people watch this video, please put some suggestions in the comments of what Lucas might want to walk out to on his ring walk. Maybe he'll have
yeah,
a read of it later.
yeah,
Um,
maybe.
so I wanted to ask you, obviously you said you're, you know, a huge boxing fan as well. Who's your greatest of all time?
My greatest of all time, I'd have to say, would be Roy Jones Jr.
Oh,
Because
nice.
I would say in his prime, I would say he was untouchable in
Hmm.
terms of, you know, he would even do things technically incorrect, where he would throw more left hooks than jabs, but
Hmm.
just because he was so athletic, you know, so gifted, he could get away with it. And you know, some of his performances, you know, against like Vinny Panzan Jr., where he didn't even get hit. I think he was the first fighter in a world title fight where he didn't get hit in once in a whole round, which
Wow.
is yes, which shows how gifted and how talented he was. And yeah, I think he was my favorite to watch. And of all time, I would say yeah, Roy Jones Jr.
You met him?
No, 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 I haven't had
You
the
haven't?
privilege to. No,
Oh,
but I would love to. Hopefully in the
yeah.
future.
Yeah, hopefully you do get to meet him one day. That would be amazing. And lastly, one fight that you want to see in 2025.
In 2025. Um, I would say Benavides vs Canelo. Oh yeah, so
Yeah, I've had a few other people say that as well.
yeah,
Oh wow. Okay, cool.
yeah,
Yeah, let's
David
hope that one
Benavides Canelo.
does come to fruition. I think loads of people have been
Hmm.
talking about it for a long time, so let's hope it does happen. Lucas, thank you so much for your time. It's been lovely to catch up. All the best for your pro debut. We'll be following your journey. Anyone watching this, please do go onto Instagram, go onto his Instagram page, DM him for any tickets. Lucas, just tell us again, what was your Instagram handle and how people can get tickets for your show, please?
Yeah, so no capitals, Lucas Roehrig 1, and yeah, just send me a DM if you would like tickets, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day and we will catch up soon.
You too. Thank you, Aiysha, and
Bye.
thank you, Green Diamond Boxing, for having me on. And
Thank
hope you do many more. Bye bye.
you. Bye. Take care.
It's another bang. All them having cars now, whichever get up. Light up my card with a sweet one, please. Someone flicks me a bag, so it's another one. It's another one.